So let's make a start then, really. What we're going to do today is we're going to continue with our series on differentiation and inclusion. And we've had numerous workshop titles, and today we're delighted to share a little bit more about another angle of differentiation and inclusion. And we're going to be looking at one simple strategy to help every student in your classroom become an independent learner. So that's our focus today in our 15-minute interactive workshop today. As you know, our workshops are co-hosted by our ambassadors, and today we are thrilled to have another one of our workshops shared and co-hosted by our ambassador from Nigeria today. In order to answer our large question today about a simple strategy about independent learning, we're going to be focusing on 3 areas. So the first one is to define independent learning. Secondly, to how to build independence amongst your learners. And finally, using Turn Talk to help learners become more independent. So using the simple strategy called Turn Talk as well. Now, before we begin and move on, as I mentioned earlier, that we are joined by our ambassador from Nigeria, which we're thrilled to have to share a little bit more about his best practice as well. And so we're thrilled to have Hamid Jiwa from Nigeria. So Hamid, would you like to share a little bit more about yourself to our learners as well?
Thank you, Priya. Hi, everyone. My name is Hamid Jiwa. I am a Teach2030 ambassador from Nigeria. I am also the head teacher of Smart Vision Academy, Gwarinpa, Abuja, Nigeria. It's an elementary school that runs a blend of Nigerian and British curriculum. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I want to believe by the end of the 30-minute drive, we are going to go home with another beautiful strategy that will enhance and foster more productivity in our classroom and make our learners more independent. Thank you once again for joining me. Priya, over to you.
Thank you so much, Hamid. Really great introduction as well. And we're looking forward to hearing a bit more about your best practice in the classroom as well. So let's begin then. Independent learner is our key word and focus for this workshop as well. Now, some of you may have come across this term independent learner. Some of you just like to have a bit of a refresh of the term independent learner. So here we go. Independent learner is someone or process of learning in which your learners in your classroom have control and ownership of their learning. Now, this can seem a little bit daunting, I know, for some of us as teachers, to almost relinquish that control of learning, where learners are almost taking ownership of that, where sometimes we're used to sharing learning as well. So in this particular instance, we're going to be using independent learning and how we can actually get our learners to have and take a little bit more control and ownership of their learning too. Just out of interest for any of you who are joining here on the live today, either through Facebook or through our Zoom, how many of you have actually, just out of interest, heard of this term independent learner? And do you use independent learning in your classroom too? Do let us know in the chat, and I'm sure Louise will let us know as well. Thank you.
You have a definition of independent learner for us, Priya. I think that might be useful.
Can you see that on the slide in front of you?
I don't think you're sharing your screen.
Okay, one moment. Let me just try that again. I think that probably that's the problem. One moment.
There we go. Started now. Thank you.
Apologies. Did you think with technology things would there we go. So apologies. Let me just start again. So here's our ambassador Hamid that we that also shared a little bit of, and introduced himself as well. So apologies for that. So here we have independent learner. So independent learner is a process of learning in which learners have control and ownership of their learning, as mentioned as well. So just out of interest, for some of you who may have come across independent learning, how many of you have come across the term or probably use independent learning in your classrooms as well? Let's just have a quick.
If I can jump in there, I know I do in one of the subjects that I teach. I give an example of something for students to analyse that I've chosen, and then the part that they enjoy is that they get to go away and choose a product in media. This is that they something that they're interested in themselves. So it means that they can study whatever media topic is interesting to them for some of their work. And I think that they really enjoy having that control over their learning rather than just studying the things that I've taught them, which I might enjoy and they might not.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really good point there as well. Anyone else use independent learning in their classroom too?
Yes, independent learner.
That's James.
Thank you, James. Absolutely. It's great to see so many of you who have heard of the concept of independent learning and use it in your classroom. So let's move on then. Let's look at not just what independent learning is, but let's look at some characteristics of independent learning as well. So as you know, this workshop is an interactive workshop as well. So I'd like to know a little bit more about, can you see some characteristics of independent learning as well? So in a moment, on the next slide, in some statements which are in some grey boxes, you're going to see some characteristics that refer to independent learning. And what I would like you to do in the comment box below, either on Facebook or on Zoom as well, I would like you to write a number that you know that the number of statements refer to independent learning. So let me just show you in front of you now. Here are some statements. Some of these are to do with independent learning and characteristics of independent learning. I'd like you to read through those statements in front of you and identify which ones are referring to independent learning, and write down in the comment box how many of them do you think are to do and refer to independent learning. You can write your number in the comment box below between 1 and 8. I'll give you a moment. So if you can look at some of the statements and write down in the comment box which statements refer to characteristics of independent learning.
I'm going to have a guess. I'm not sure of the right answer. I'm just going to put a guess in the box. So don't feel that you have to put the same guys.
Great. Okay.
Oh, Hamid's given a different answer to me. I must have missed one. Okay, so I've gone for 4. Hamid's gone for 5.
Brilliant. Wonder if there's anyone else who would also like to write down. James, thank you so much.
Oh, Rebecca's picked out that reflect on learning. That was one of the ones that I was pretty sure about.
Brilliant. Excellent. Fantastic. I don't know if anyone else would like to. Maybe I'll just give. Okay, thank you, Hugh. Yeah. Thank you so much. Let's go through some of them as well. Thank you so much, Rebecca. You're absolutely right there as well. If we go through some of them, relies upon a teacher, probably not characteristics of an independent learner. Connect classroom learning to real world. This is something that can be related to independent learning and characteristic. Not a passive learner. So uses a scaffold to help complete a task. So an activity that will help writing a task or thinking about a task as well. So these are 2 already characteristics of independent learning. Then you have a discussion with a learner as well. So this can be an activity that you can do, which is a characteristic of independent learning that you can use in your classroom. Having effective classroom is another one as well, or question, sorry, where the teacher is wholly responsible for learning, isn't particularly an example of independent learning, and reflects upon learning as well is an example of independent learning. So in total, the answer is 5. So these are the 5 here that I refer to as well. And Hamid is going to just share a little bit more about one of these characteristics of independent learning that he uses as best practice as well. So Hamid, would you like to just share a little bit more about one of the characteristics that you use of independent learning in your classroom?
Thank you, Priya. Yes, I love the effective questioning approach. The strategy allows me to open conversation in my classroom, inspire deeper intellectual thoughts, and promote student-to-student interaction in the class.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And it's really great to see how using effective questioning to push and challenge your learners in your classroom as well. Have you found that as quite successful?
Yeah, absolutely well. Absolutely. It has really helped in building my learner to become more independent and to take on challenges.
Brilliant. And it's really nicely actually that we lead on to looking at how we can start to activate independence amongst your learners as well. So there are 2 areas to help you even consider not just the characteristics, but how you can start activating independence amongst your learners. So here are 2 areas that you might consider. Ensuring that your learners have enough knowledge about a topic in the first place so that they can discuss and they can elevate their voices about a particular topic as well. And secondly, use open-ended questions. So in this particular example, Hamid has used his best practice of using effective questioning, but the type of questioning he might be using is called open-ended questioning as well. So it allows a discussion amongst learners too. Now, these are just 2 examples to help as active ingredients to help independent learners amongst your learners, but also what else can you include? So my question to you is, in order to help activate independence amongst your learners, is there anything else that you might consider or use in your classroom as well? You can comment your particular idea or strategy or anything else that you might use to activate independence in the comment box below as well. And I wonder if there's anything on Facebook too.
I'm just checking Facebook, miss, hold on. No comments as yet, but we have been shared.
Ah, lovely. Okay, great. Okay, so I can't see anyone else adding anything else about what else can be included too. So let's move on as well. So let's share a little bit more about the simple strategy that you can use to develop independent learners as well. So Hamid, would you like to just share a little bit about the simple strategy to support independent learning called Turn Talk?
Thank you, Priya. As we could all see on our screen, Turn Talk is a simple strategy where learners can interact with a fellow classmates to formulate ideas and share their thinking. It's an authentic opportunity for students to develop independence and self-efficacy, and equally a priceless strategy for building relationship, culture, and community in the classroom. It's a wonderful way to enhance effective communication skills, listening skills, confidence, and make our class more engaging.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your practice as well within the classroom and the benefits of using Turn Talk as well. So this simple strategy is an essential skill that you can use in your classrooms as well. So let's learn a little bit more about the steps how you can use a simple strategy. So the first particular instance that you might want to use Turn Talk is, first of all, when it comes to your planning, is think about a clear question or instruction that you can engage your learners to help independence in your classroom too. So it could start off with discuss, why do you think? So it opens up that question as a more open-ended leading question too. Secondly, Once you've planned your clear question or instruction, ask your learners to talk to their partner, either someone sitting next to them or behind them as well. At least this way, what we can try and do is get them to start talking about something so you don't feel you have to share all of your knowledge about a particular topic. And then finally, is as a teacher, or how would you plan to use this information? So for instance, you can plan to use this information in your class. You might ask a few pairs or learners to give their thoughts about something that you're sharing too. Now, I'm assuming many of you might have used something similar to this, but you can even continue to use this and build this part of your lesson planning to build in more about how you can develop independent learners in your classroom too. So as we're coming towards the end of our workshop, what we'd like to know is reflect upon your planning, and will you choose Turn Talk as well as one of your strategies for independent learning in your classroom as well. So in the comment box below, could you just let us know if you're going to be using Turn Talk in your classroom, that you can implement this essential skill in your classroom tomorrow. So in the comment box, let us know if you would use Turn Talk in your classroom. Great, it's good to see some of you respond as well. Thank you so much. Thank you. So as we're coming towards the end, let's just consolidate a couple of parts of this workshop as well. So first of all, create a culture of independent learning amongst your learners. Number two, you can think about this through effective questioning during your lesson planning. So use open-ended questions. Thirdly, ensure your learners have some knowledge about the question before you start thinking about answering a particular question, so it gives them something to talk about. And finally, use a simple strategy of Turn Talk to help every learner become more independent. Now, you will probably learn more and understand more about this when you start using this into your classroom and seeing how effective it is, but you can use other effective practical strategies such as Turn Talk from our Teach 2030 courses too. And in order for you to gain part 2 of the courses for free, you can use Hamid's code, which is HG Nigeria. So you can take a screenshot of this, or you can also take a photograph of this as well, or note this down, but you can use this code to help you also improve your teaching practice in your classroom too. So let's see a little bit more about how you can access these courses. One moment. What you can do is 3 steps. Number 1 is visit teach2030.com, and where the arrow is situated, you can log on and register there as well. We'll ask for some details. And then finally, you can register. You can register if you're a new user, or if you're someone who's coming back to using Teach 2030, you can use your username and your password as well. But remember, if you're already, part 1 is always going to be free, but part 2, you can use the code HG Nigeria as well to access part 2 for free, where you can get Turn Talk and other practical strategies that you can use into your classroom that's going to build your essential skills as a teacher as well. We are thrilled today to have Hamid join and co-host with us today. So thank you so much, Hamid, as well. Would you like to just say any last points as well before you leave too, Hamid?
Anna, thank you, Priya. It's wonderful hanging out with you. And to all our listeners that are joining today, I want to encourage us, let's impute these wonderful strategies in our lesson planning. It will not only benefit us as a teacher, it will prepare our learners for the challenges ahead and make them a 21st century learner. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
so much for that. Yeah, that was lovely.
Thank you so much. And again, just very last point too, just before you leave, there are post-event materials at the end of this workshop, related to this workshop as well, about Turn Talk 2, and you can gain your free poster as well. So thank you so much for joining. We do really appreciate you joining today and contributing to our workshop too, and have a wonderful day. Thanks again, and
Thank you.
bye now.